Okay. Okay, welcome everybody. It's Tuesday the 16th of January 2024, and this is the Civic Events Working Party for Haverhill Town Council. All decisions will have to be verified by the Leisure and Community Committee unless it goes through delegated authority through the town clerk. Before I start, I would like to introduce, and he's moved about on my screen, Joseph Dexter, who's the new marketing job title. I can't remember his job title.
Marketing officer, I believe.
Oh, marketing officer. Thank you. Sorry. Who started last week, wasn't it? And working with Sarah, so moved about again as you're up there. And replaced Al Lockhart Morley, who was with us on a temporary contract. Everyone who's on screen there, Joseph, I think you've probably met most of them. I don't know if you've met Brian and Charmaine. Okay, they're regularly in the Arts Centre because they're heavily involved with both the history group and the family history group. Tony Brown is one of our councillors. I don't know if you've met him there. And also Max Drinkwater, who's the vicar of St Mary's in Haverhill, and also I can't remember the church's name in Withersfield, sorry.
It's also St Mary's in Withersfield.
Oh, it's St Mary's, yeah, that's all right.
And chair of Churches Together at the moment.
That's it,
represent that body as well.
Yeah, thanks, Max. So it's been last year. I can't remember what went on last year. So right. So moving quickly on. Apologies for absence, please, Chair. Clark, Mr. Clark.
So yes, we have Councillor Cox, Councillor Davison, and Councillor Lucarini. I haven't heard from Mr. Mills. I did email Brian with an invite as well.
I think technically he probably won't be there unless he pops round to Brian and Charmaine's house.
Okay.
Right.
It's obviously going to be a wash up of the remembrance. So I thought that
it would have been nice. Yes, agree. Declarations of interest, request for dispensation from anybody? Don't think there will be anyway. No, lovely. Thank you very much. Moving quickly on to item number 4, minutes of the previous meeting held on the 2nd of October. Seems a very long time ago, certainly for me it does anyway. Could I, first of all, I assume everyone's read them, could I have a proposer, please? Councillor Brown, seconder. Councillor Dave Smith. All those in favour, please show. Lost it. There we go. Lovely. And then moving on to item 5, matters arising from the agenda. There aren't any because they all come up in the agenda anyway for this year, and we're going to be doing a quick review of what happened at the very last end of last year, which really was only remembrance and the civic service. Certainly the latter I wasn't involved in at all because I wasn't available, but the former I just sort of sat in the sidelines. So did anyone want to say anything about either of those events? Councillor Brown? You're muted, Tony.
Yeah, no, I thought especially the remembrance day went very well. Danny, the new parade marshal, did extremely well. It was his first go. Yeah, it all seemed to go really well, even though there were sort of concerns potentially around finishing off on the market square, but it all seemed to go quite well. I presume Colin's got some points because he sort of was in charge operationally. But yeah, from sort of participant and from speaking to other people, it all seemed to work okay.
Yeah, I mean, I
Gary was in charge.
Gary's in charge. I was going to say Gary was in overall charge.
Mm.
Just to, I mean, I did create a quick video based on the live stream and also what Ben Priggett filmed for me on the Market Square afterwards. I think I'm sure Gary would probably bring it up. The only comment I heard was the salute and everything on the Market Square perhaps needs to be a bit refined for this year, but that's something we can look into. Gary, did you want to say anything?
Hello, can everyone hear me? Because I'm using this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it ran well. It was hard work. I think well done to the whole team, particularly the new additions that we had. So was it Danny and Adam who helped deliver everything? There were a number of items, if I remember correctly. There was some feedback about how the bus came to be at the front. That was a very, very last minute addition by Adam. Literally within about a minute, 2 minutes ago, because we were told that the fire engine wasn't attending, and Adam made the decision to put the bus. It was only on the way out. It didn't come back. I certainly wasn't going to have any great arguments about whether the bus should be in with the parade. One of the parade masters, with about 2 minutes to go, as it was quite intense. So that's how come the bus ended up in the parade. Getting down to the cemetery went okay. There was an issue on the way back with a rogue motorist who decided to ignore the road closures and head towards the parade, which Adam saw about half a second before me and pushed the car to the side. Coming back onto the square, we were very well prepared staff-wise. We prepped quite a lot for the arrival on the square of the parade coming back, and I thought, and I would hope that most people would concur, that went off quite well. As for tightening up all the other bits that's just been mentioned, I don't know. I was kind of rushing around a bit at the back, dealing with road closures. I was short-staffed again on road closure people, which required quite a lot of work. They were slightly rogue on occasions. They followed 90% of the instructions, but they were a little bit, like I said, rogue on a number of occasions. But overall, they did okay. In terms of everything holistically, there was a few issues with the traffic agency prior to the day itself, which we worked quite hard in terms of signage and so on and so on. There were a few issues with that, so it was quite hard work. I would hope that most people who attended or saw the parade actually thought it went quite well, because a lot of work did go into it, and my thanks to everybody who was involved on that day. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Smith, David.
Yeah, just went for the councillor speech, shall we? Yeah, no, from my point of view, I thought it went really, really well. Yeah, there were a couple of little bits that we can learn from next time, but I think considering it was different to what had been tried previously, I thought it went pretty well. So well done, everybody.
Brian and Sharman, you were at the forefront and the Ward Mobile. Any thoughts?
Well, I would say that Danny did really well on his first year as a parade marshal. I was quite impressed with him, really. I mean, it's quite a daunting task for him. There are one or two issues that we had, or I had, with the RBL and the order of reef laying. As usual, they decided to change their tactics at the very last moment, but I think we need to discuss that at the next meeting prior to Remembrance Day next year.
Okay. There was one thing I've just remembered, which I did notice. As I say, I was sort of keeping well out of it. There was the point where it was sort of a bit confusing who was managing the parade after the service, because it looked like, you know, Danny, I thought, was supposed to be doing that, and then he was sort of being countermanded. So we need to clarify that as well. Max, did you have anything?
And no, again, it all seemed to go very well. I'm always, yeah, when to start the service, sort of who gives me the nod. I sort of wait until I've caught everybody's eye to check that, live stream is okay, Danny's okay, everyone's okay. But I just sort of check that I've caught everyone's eye, and then it seems to flow. So no, I was very happy with everything.
Yeah, I guess because I wasn't behind the camera this time, sort of saying, yeah, go ahead, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I thought that all went extremely well. And just one thing, I did have a message from Councillor Lucarini, Aaron, saying that the filming he thought went extremely well last year with the static cameras and everything, much less obtrusive. The people stood on the wall, and and I think people just didn't notice it. And at the end of it, we had a good, not only a live stream but a final video out of it, which probably only took me 10 minutes to edit because it was so good. So I'm pleased about that. Sarah and anybody else? Any thoughts? No. Sorry, Colin, I forgot you.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I would concur with what everybody else has said. I think, given that we had a big problem to solve, which we successfully managed to resolve, we shouldn't be overly kind of self-critical about the fact that there were some small points that actually they are significant, and we do need to make sure that we don't ignore them. But I think we did a perfectly good job. And of course, we had the script, and the public didn't have the script. So the public view would have been absolutely fine, even if a few things we would have noticed. But we do need to pick them up. So I think if we can capture what people have said around the screen on the parade, I don't know about Danny being overruled at all. I don't know anything about that, but we did have, and I don't know quite how we solve it, but getting onto the market square, we had been told by Adam particularly that when the military start marching, if they're not given the correct instruction to stop, it ain't going to happen. And it was actually demonstrated both in the band coming on to the top of the market square, and the kind of slight kind of, well, I've said very informatively panicked look in the eyes of the band leader to me to say, I hope somebody's going to tell us to stop, because there was no line or any so I found myself stopping the band in the right place, but there was nobody to stop the uniform military on the lower parade ground or lower market square, and the wall actually is what stopped them in the end. So they should have stopped probably 20 feet short. To a certain extent, I was surprised how small the uniformed contingent was. I think we were all expecting it to be a whole row, and it was nowhere near a whole row. So you may recall that some of the other members of the British Legion suggested some markings should be put down, and I think that that's something that we, perhaps closer to the date, should consider whether that would be useful, so that we can actually make sure people are given an instruction to stop at the mark, because obviously we had wheelchair users who were at the front of that, and they were way off to the far side when it came to doing the salute. And yeah, the salute did get overlooked, but to be perfectly honest, as a whole, the parade master and all the marshals on the course had just parked a 200-foot long parade for the first time on the market square in 3 segments. So I think we were all actually just pretty impressed it happened. Yeah. So now we know we can do it. We can make sure that we can get into the detail of things. So yeah, I thought it worked remarkably well. It all seemed to go absolutely fine, I think, from what people saw. So yeah, we can easily address these small points and make sure, what Max has said is it is important that actually it's just a matter, we have to say to somebody that you have to give the nod to Max to know to start, because we didn't say to anybody that. And obviously that then left Max with a kind of an awkward decision of whether or not anybody else was going to do any last minute kind of manoeuvring when he thought it was time to start. It worked absolutely fine on the day, of course.
Yeah, one thing we didn't do this year, or last year rather, was Aaron's wife, who was manning that front camera, we were supposed to have given her a radio so she could give the nod, as it were, when everything was right. But we missed that bit out, unfortunately. And I think on the one thing I was going to suggest is, and we didn't do it last year because we basically ran out of time with all the problems we had, who was running the parade and everything, is I think people like Adam, Danny and Ollie from the CQS band, assuming we use them again, maybe they need to get together early in the year and go over things themselves, because I was acting as a conduit, and it was a bit like a third party person getting involved in something I really don't understand, people marching or anything like that. Never had to do it in my life, so maybe we ought to put that as an action point. Tony, sorry, Councillor Brown.
Yeah, on the marching and stopping thing, yeah, I think we really just need to have a word with Danny on that, because him as parade marshal, he can't just shout parade halt, because everyone will be at different places on the actual square, so it'd be down to each military contingent's leader. But obviously you was right, Colin, if you've got a line there, that first unit, whoever it is, the Sea Cadet band, I presume, they stop on that line, and then it'd be the next unit would say stop when it's suitable for them to do so. But that'd just be a matter for Danny just to have a word with the leaders of those little units, and basically say when they stop, get up to your position and then stop.
Yeah,
you can't have someone just shouting out parade halt, because they'll be everywhere.
no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, just an aside to the parade, we did have an issue with the paving area around the memorial, and I thought we'd reported that, hoped that it was going to get fixed, but it wasn't on the day. I hope it doesn't go another year before it gets fixed.
It's a loose paving stone in the middle of the step going up.
Yeah, at the front.
And I got in touch with the cemeteries people, and they did say they were going to send someone out very quickly, but it was still loose on the day. So I don't know if it's been repaired.
So I think that's the sort of thing that maybe a couple of months beforehand, we need to do a proper inspection, with somebody from West Suffolk to come down and show them.
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't a major issue on the day, but if someone had tripped on it or fallen over, that would have been awful.
Yeah. Apart from them being embarrassing for us. Yeah. So, David, Councillor Smith.
I just remember one thing that happened on the day. That's on the way back to the market square. Obviously, Max and Father John managed to find themselves in the middle of the parade and ended up on the market square rather than on the upper market square. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah. So, I think they were held back and let the military go in front of them, and that meant that they got separated from the rest of the.
Yeah, should have gone with the dignitaries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we tried to get into the same position returning from the cemetery as we were going up, but yes, that left us in the middle somewhere. So we found ourselves on the square.
Yeah, I think that's what I was sort of seeing, that there was a bit of confusion about who was controlling how the things were leaving, and that's because there were radio communications between the main road and the memorial saying, "Oh, is the road closed?" and all this sort of stuff, and so it just needs tidying up and everything. Okay, if nobody's got else anything on that, we can quickly move on to the civic service. But I don't suppose there was much to discuss on that. Was there from anybody? I mean, Vicky and David, and I did. You know, it was a weekend before. No, I was actually in hospital, I think. Yeah. So I don't know, David, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, generally went very well. And there was a little bit of confusion about the lining up as we what's the word? Processed to the front of the church. You know, there was a bit of confusion over the order, but I think we got there in the end, so there's no huge problems. But other than that, I thought it was a very good service, very good evening, and I personally thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah.
Is it something that we, you know, and obviously I couldn't do anything, but is it something that we should be filming? I'm not saying live stream, but
it was live streamed on.
Oh, was it? Okay, on
our church social media.
Okay, that's fine.
So yes, if you want it streamed to town council pages or wherever, then either we'd need somebody to do that or to link our system in with your social media channels. Either way, we could do that. But it was streamed to church social media.
Oh, okay, fine, that's fine. Welcome, Damien. If you can hear me now, you can. Lovely, thank you. Right, so if they've got nothing else on the set, let's move on to item number 6A, which is actually to discuss the events for this year. Hopefully most of them will be okay. Mayor making Monday the 13th of May. No, Damien's coming outside. Anybody? Colin, is probably down to you, that one, is it? Really?
Well, I mean, it's only if there's anything we want to do any differently. If we want to have a it's basically the bit is really between the annual meeting of the annual town meeting and the annual meeting of the council. There's usually a short section where we have some form of interlude, and it's down to Councillor Smith to think about what you'd like to have. Last year we had Haverhill singers, I think. I think we had somebody, didn't we?
We had somebody. I can't remember who it was now.
It was the band, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, the development band, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think so.
Yeah, the band.
Okay. Oh, was it? All right. Okay. Yeah. So it's whatever you want to do, really.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to think about it. Then I don't know. A short pantomime would be nice. There we go.
Well, yeah.
That comes afterwards. It's called the annual meeting of the town council.
Yeah, it was the silver band. So I've just found the video. Sorry. On the youth section, wasn't it?
All right.
Yeah. Okay. The only comment we had from previously, which we'll have to resolve, was the audio for the actual council meeting itself.
In the auditorium, the audio that's streaming is fine. The difficulty we have is amplification in the auditorium when you've got loads of microphones which are absolutely waiting to scream feedback into that hall if they're given half a chance. So it's a very difficult balancing job for the tech team.
Yeah.
And we haven't got it right, and I don't think that's particularly down. It's definitely nothing to do with the tech team. It's simply down to you know the science of how you manage to amplify people's voices, short of everybody wearing head mics and having a microphone literally just by their mouth.
Yeah, I don't know what they do in like TV studios where you have a live audience and you also film.
They do that, don't they?
Yeah, well, they do, of course. That's right. Yeah,
they usually got like boom mics and things like that, haven't they?
Stuff like,
or a roving mic or something like that.
Yeah, well, something for the tech team to maybe think about a bit more and see whether there's any ideas. Okay, anything else on mayor making?
Can we ask then if Vicky can make a note for Dylan Mills, the tech manager, and we'll need to obviously actually let him know that there's an action point, not say he has to come up with a solution, but if he can consider again if there is a solution we can try and use. We don't have enough mics to give every councillor a head mic.
No. Although we could borrow them off centre stage if it came to it. They got loads. If it came to it. I think they've got 16.
Be a lot simpler just to tell everyone not to say anything.
No, you can mute them, but
yeah,
it's not like a pantomime where you know who's going to speak next.
Mm.
You just don't know. Okay. So presumably nobody's got any more comments on mayor making, other than who eventually the new mayor is going to be. Right, moving on quickly to item B, which is an important event this year, which is D-Day 80 on obviously the 6th of June. And Colin put an appendix, and I know Tony's got some ideas as well. Do you want to go first, Tony?
Yeah, I've been giving it a little bit of thought. Obviously, the D-Day commemoration is only 3 weeks before Armed Forces Day, so it seems to me that it possibly maybe an idea was, this is just my thoughts, is have some sort of service by the flags on the morning of June the 6th, and for the duration of D-Day, right the way through to Armed Forces Day, have flags up, take down the Union flags that we got hanging from the lampposts. And I think there was 13 different nations that took part in D-Day on our side, which was obviously the UK, United States, Canada, the Free French, the Free Polish, the Free Belgians, Free Czechoslovaks, the Free Dutch, the Free Norwegians, Australians. There's 2,000 Australian airmen and 500 Australian sailors involved in D-Day, and New Zealand, plus obviously the Commonwealth members that were part of UK's efforts. So I think it'd be a good sort of thing to have around in a similar sort of way as we've got the Union flags for the Jubilee, or for the coronation, to have sort of like the Allied Nations flags hanging up, and something like, get some made with D-Day 80 on there. And one thought I did think of, which I got when I went to the 75th anniversary over in Normandy, was that the French had pictures of participants, individual, British, American soldiers, that they had pictures of hanging from the lamppost as well. And obviously, we've got some former D-Day veterans, and luckily one's still alive, Bill. Obviously, people have departed, like Ron Mays, Harry, pictures of Albert Barber, Dennis Smith, something like that. Just that sort of thing, and then sort of have that, and then basically we are the Suffolk Armed Forces Day, and then sort of turn that into a sort of D-Day 80 theme for the Armed Forces Day. Instead of sort of replicating everything on both days, have the Armed Forces Day as the sort of main event, but obviously have the flags up in a service on D-Day. That's my thoughts, obviously. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. I think I particularly like the flags and pictures. Charmian.
Did you look at the Bruno Peak information for this? Because he was suggesting that you have a bell ringing at 6:30 in the evening, and then a beacon at 9:15, and there's a tribute that could be read, and a poem for schools, a proclamation, and there's also a fish and chip thing going on. I think all fish and chip shops are going to be encouraged to open up and serve fish and chips. So I didn't know whether you could, well, if you were going to use the ringing and the beacon again. Whether you could perhaps have had I don't know, fish and chip supper and maybe even a talk in St Mary's, or a short service.
That's an interesting thing. I didn't know Bruno was involved again. Okay.
Well, Colin sent out a link to.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, sorry, I've looked at it a bit. I hadn't realised it was Bruno, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, we Family History Group do have some posters that you could make use of. We've got 4 for, well, 1 for Ron Mays, Robert Barber, Harry Bowdry and Dennis Smith. We could do an additional one for Bill. And then we have D-Day landings, the numbers of D-Day, innovations, and also something about the Atlantic Wall, which potentially could give you 9 posters or 10 posters if you wanted to use those.
It might also be worthwhile putting a shout out if there are other people in Haverhill that know of other D-Day participants, Haverhill men, and they've got a photo or something like that. There's bound to be someone that we don't know about.
Yeah, we may have some Second World War photos that from a previous exhibition, serving members. So certainly I can trawl through those and see who we've got. But yeah.
If you want to use the church for a service, fine. If you want to use the church for an exhibition space, that could work as well. Very happy to entertain those sorts of ideas if you want them.
I think it's very important, for people not to forget. I know it's 80 years, but it was a massive event on all, on everything, and you only have to see the films, and even if it is restricted to things like Saving Private Ryan and stuff like that, I'm more interested in history rather than the fantasy. But I don't know what others think. I mean, I like Tony's idea about the thing. Colin, what do you think? Possible?
Yes, I mean, if we think those posters, if the origination of those posters can be repeated for banners, that would be, I think, really quite effective to actually, let people know there were people from Haverhill area or people who've subsequently moved to Haverhill involved. I think that could look quite impressive. In terms of the flags, I think we'd have to work out how we fly that number of flags in terms of the number of places that can take them. Are you thinking of banners, Tony, that like the Union flag banners that are on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But you think there's 13 countries in total?
Yeah, I googled it, but obviously there was a whole host of Commonwealth nations like Jamaica and people that actually served with the RAF, and Rhodesia. There was a whole there's a list. It's every Commonwealth nation, right across the globe contributed men. I mean, there was even Luxembourg had a contingent, just a handful of guys. But I say the 13 main countries were as listed. But it'd be nice, for people from those countries that live in the towns. Some of those don't even know potentially that their ancestors may have participated. But obviously, people like the Poles and that are very, very, Polish 1st Armoured Division. They landed and they were based around. A lot of those were based around here, Chippenham Park, etc. And they fought heroically all the way through Normandy. So. Poles and the Polish Air Force, done a huge amount, as did all the Allies. But so we have got a lot of Poles, etc., that live in the town. It'd be nice for them to see their flag around. Yeah, we
have to do a bit of design work on the different flags to make sure we get the flags right. But that means effectively the flags all around the town, and then perhaps the images of the people on banners actually on the market square itself, and then the 3 service flags. It sounds doable. Sarah has been doing a little bit of investigation on lighting lamps that Bruno suggested.
They were £55 each.
But Sarah's
People are.
looked into that and got a better solution.
Yeah, you can actually buy them off Amazon for £14.99, or we could get second-hand ones and just paint them red. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend buying £55 Hurricane lamps from Bruno's own stock.
What about getting the youngsters involved in painting some or something like that, you know, in town?
Did you say young people?
Yeah, get some school
Yeah,
children.
yes,
They
that's
may
possible.
want to take part. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the only problem will be, although they're probably older generation, will be exam time, of course. I guess 6th of June, I'm assuming. So teachers and co may be heavily involved with that. Certainly, I would like to see High Street business and Queen Street businesses, even if it's just to put, you know, I know some of them are not allowed to, but I think we ought to try and get them to put posters in the windows or something.
Well, when we did the Queen's the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, they were, and we did those massive posters. They were all very keen on that, so that's a good sign that they might do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'd be good to get them up and down the high street. And I'm going to be ignorant here because I haven't really looked. Is our bunting down? Do we take all our bunting down?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. Okay.
I think the 6th of June is half term.
Oh, is it?
I think
Okay.
so.
You're probably bow to your judgment. Yeah.
Or maybe not. Spring bank holidays are 27th of May, isn't it? So probably not.
No.
Probably the week before half term.
Okay.
If my understanding is right from what Tony was suggesting, we're doing something fairly kind of simple on the day, but anything more kind of major, we just talk about Armed Forces Day, the Saturday itself being a kind of a D-Day theme. Is that right? Is that what I understand?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the thing about D-Day was it was one day at the start of what became a very long campaign for many months until the Ardennes offensive came back again. So yeah, I think it's good because you know things like the Battle for Caen and all that sort of stuff went on ages. So I think I think that would be quite good just to have something simple, maybe a service outside if the weather's decent. You know, by the flagpoles and everything. You know, it's unfortunate, and whether the schools will get involved, you know, bring young people down, I don't know. You know, something we need to ask them.
Yeah.
Dave, Councillor Smith.
I just wondered, probably you mentioned on the future item on the agenda here, but with the D-Day being the 6th and the Armed Forces Day on the 29th, in the middle of that we've got the Suffolk Day. I wonder about flags being raised, if they will be staying up the whole way through, and if that's the case, where would we raise the Suffolk flag?
The Suffolk flag is normally only raised for that one day.
Yeah, I mean, are you going to leave the others up all the time from D-Day through? That's what I'm just wondering.
The banners would have to be left up because it's one of the most expensive bits is actually getting the banners up, as we have to hire the cherry picker. I think the 3 flagpoles at the top of the market square, we can put the St Edmunds flag up there. It is the Prince of Wales' birthday, the same day, Suffolk Day. So yeah, whether we also run up a couple of Union flags at the same time, and the St Edmunds flag. Obviously, we'll get onto it in a minute, but we do need to bear in mind that both the Suffolk Day and the Suffolk Armed Forces Day are both the official event is in Haverhill.
Yeah. Okay. Have we got enough to be going on with for D-Day 80, it sounds to me like it's Sarah and probably Joseph's ballywhack, as it were.
Yeah, well, we can set the train in motion and start
Brian
looking.
and Charmian and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk to Brian and Charmian as well about the photos and stuff.
Lovely.
So we agreed that we're going to have a flag raising on the 3 flagpoles of a small service, something like that, just to mark the day.
On the 6th of June.
Yeah, on the 6th of June.
Yeah, well, the 3 armed forces flags, you mean?
Yeah, so it'd be combined. We've got combined forces flag anyway, I think, haven't we? So it'd be Union flag, combined forces flag.
Did we have that, Colin? I'm
trying to remember. Tony, we did try and get hold of one, didn't we? I think we may have. It's actually, I think it's the military defence flag is a combined forces flag. Yeah. I think we do.
Yeah, that and I don't know what we'd do for the other one without upsetting. Yeah.
Well, American flag or the French flag or whatever. I mean, as you say, there's so many countries involved.
Yeah.
We won't talk about Merchant Navy flag, but anyway.
Yeah.
Are you thinking middle of the day for that, or first thing in the morning?
I think it'd be nice around the middle of the day, just to mark it, just to give people time to get down there. I did, when I thought about it initially, I think, it'd be good to have it at dawn, exactly 80 years, but no one would be down there. So, yeah.
Sharon?
Will you want a last post for the 6th?
Yeah, I think it'd be really good. It always, makes it a special event, I think.
Do you want me to see if I can organise a bugler?
Yeah, please, Charmaine. That'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay.
Then do we need the Royal British Legion to do their things with the flags, etc.?
Yeah, I think that make it look.
I think you can't exclude them.
No,
I'm not talking about exclude. I'm just obviously we have to ask them to do it, otherwise they're.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Yeah.
Get hold of Danny and see if we can sort something out.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on D-Day 80? Any thoughts from anyone?
Well, just when Charmian asked, do you want a bugler? We have said for Armed Forces Day, for the flag raising ceremony, not to have an act of remembrance. It's something slightly different.
Yeah.
So do we want a bugler?
Yes, for that, because it is actually an act of remembrance.
It is definitely an act of remembrance as well as a.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost two men from Haverhill on that day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And obviously people like Ron Mays and Harry have died since. So
yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right, Max. The Armed Forces Day itself is that we're not expecting an act of remembrance. Then I don't think.
Yeah.
It may happen anyway, but we're not expecting it.
The tribute that's on page 19 of that Bruno Peake's book was quite good. You may want to look at that, Max.
Could you forward that to me, please?
Yes, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. If nothing else, obviously, while we have these meetings, 2 or 3 months apart, please make, if everybody's got anything, please make sure you send around Robin email or something if you've got any thoughts, please. It's right. Moving on, then let's move on to Suffolk Armed Forces Day. Suffolk Armed Forces Day, and obviously we have the flag raising as well on the Monday. This year is on the 29th of June, and also we've been asked to be the lead town to do it, which I think is this and Suffolk Day as well is nice to have both in the same time. Armed Forces Day, the only thing Tony and I discussed after last year, and I don't know what people think, is we're going to dispense with the convoy in its previous form. That what we're going to do is we're going to have a miniature convoy from the Arts Centre car park, but only going straight to the Market Square, up Dudley Hill and round Clements Lane, isn't it? Camps Road. So they all arrive at the same time. I mean, we struggle each year for volunteers. We struggle each year for staffing, and we all end up running halfway around the town to get from one place to another. And equally, based on what Tony was telling me, not a lot of people come out and watch it, which is a crying shame. And it was something we set up during COVID as well, when we couldn't get together. So I don't know what people think about that.
Do we still put the vehicles on the Market Square, because that looked really impressive last year?
Yes, yeah, we'll still do that. Yeah,
exactly this. Yeah, sorry, exactly the same. Hopefully, the same amount of vehicles. It's just going to be a shorter route, basically. So we'll just get, because it's a lot easier to marshal it onto the Market Square, sort of meet up at the Arts Centre, then leave as one whole, and then we're coming down. If we come down the Rec, turn right down Camps Road, we're coming in at the right angle as well. The Arts Centre team can be waiting for us, and then just get us all into position. Obviously close the Market Square off as we're coming, get us all into position, and then it just makes it so much more manageable. I think if we do it that way, it just means that we do not do the big route. I mean, it's absolutely served its purpose during COVID. We had some terrific drive around, especially the first one or two, but as John has said, and I've noticed that it has tailed off. People are getting back to their normal lives again, and it was a huge ask for a lot of people to marshal it. So it was a great thing at the time, but I say this fits more in with what you want to do now, I think.
Actually, the Market Square attracted a lot of people. They wanted to see them up close, didn't they, and parked up. So I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
In terms of that short convoy, would there be a number of those vehicles that we could invite the chain gang to actually ride on?
Yeah, we can organise that. It's no problem at all. I mean, we did get the West Suffolk chair and Pat, I think, came around as vice chair. So obviously it'll be whoever it's going to be. But we'll make space somehow. Yeah, it'd be good actually. Yeah, it'd be good to do it that way. Yeah,
I'd like to see one of them getting your ferret.
Yeah.
Well, yes. It's unfortunately it is a short journey for them, but I think it's long enough.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the arrival on the Market Square is a bit they're going to remember anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably about a mile, I would have thought. Go around there.
Yeah, it's still going to be sort of 8-10 minutes. We'll have to measure it out, but we're sort of going up Dudley Hill, turn right down by the recreation ground. We won't be going fast along Camps Road and then onto the Market Square. One thing I did think about, as we are the designated Suffolk Armed Forces Day town, is potentially to get in touch with I'm sure there's a liaison officer at Suffolk County Council with something to do with the Suffolk Armed Forces Covenant, is maybe ask if they can put the invite out to RF Wattisham and Wattisham and Hollington, or to see if anyone from their units want to come along as well. Because I know I know when Bury St Edmunds did it, they actually had an Apache helicopter when they were Suffolk. The Wattisham sent an Apache helicopter along. It landed on the Angel Hill, which would be pretty spectacular. That'd get the crowds in.
I don't know if it would be able to get on the Market Square, but I was thinking it could go on the Rec, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, what about Royal Anglians, of course? That's the obvious one.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to suggest, Chair, is that we can work with West Suffolk. I assume Ruth Bustera may be the person who has the list of invitees that West Suffolk would be expected to invite to the event.
Yeah, Charmin, do you want to?
I was just going to say, I think when we did, going back really, sorry, to D-Day 75, didn't we have some people come up from Portsmouth? Some naval personnel.
That's for Harry's.
That's for Harry's funeral.
Funeral. So
Was it?
Marine band, yeah.
We had the 2 buglers, didn't we?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Oh, that was for Harry, was it?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the Royal Marines, weren't they?
Yeah.
We did have, not that we realised it, we had a naval submariner join the Remembrance Parade as a guest of Councillor Margaret Marks, and he was with I'm going to say HMS Vengeance, which is probably wrong, but there's a submarine I think that's associated with Mary St Edmunds or West Suffolk, something like that.
It's adopted by Vengeance, HMS Vengeance.
It is Vengeance, is it? Yeah. So I mean, one of the things we'll have to check with West Suffolk Council is. I mean, it is really just their invitee list that we wouldn't normally invite to our own event, but obviously they're piggybacking on it, which is fantastic. And we'll just need to. It is the invitee list is the only difference it's particularly going to make. But yes, if we can also find a few people who might be able to come along and add to the spectacle, that'd be fantastic. I think it'd be interesting logistics getting an Apache helicopter to land on Market Square. We'd have to clear the whole area.
Yeah, I think so. What about because there is obviously three armed forces, whether is there any way, Tony, maybe, and I don't know whether you'll have the links, is whether we can get more involvement from Royal Navy and RAF side of things, and I'm talking about vehicle side of things, like I'm not saying a landing craft, but something similar like that.
It's always worth trying to put a request out, but I'd say I would try via the HMS Vengeance link, via Ruth over at West Suffolk. I'm sure that through that link, and obviously Margaret Marks has got strong links as well. I would, try to ask via that. I mean, to be fair, it might be worthwhile asking, the RAF, because it'll be their show season as well, and the front gun on the Lancaster that flies about for the Battle of Britain flight actually came from Haverhill ATC, so it'd be nice to if that could fly past on the way somewhere, if it's going somewhere. They sometimes do.
I didn't know whether someone like Duxford might have something we can borrow or they can bring along or something. Since it's only down the road and they got plenty.
To be fair, when we first had our Armed Forces Day, I did write to virtually every military unit and Duxford around at the time, and I mean the only real response we got was from the TA unit at Ipswich that kindly came down. But but as we're the designated Suffolk epicenter for Armed Forces Day, hopefully that'll carry a bit more weight.
So can I just ask, what does it mean to be the Suffolk Armed Forces Day? Is it just that we get more dignitaries come along to join in?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so each district takes it in turn to host, and West Suffolk, to their credit, said, we could do same old on Angel Hill, but actually, they want to try and spread it around a little bit. So it is literally the only difference is the invite list for dignitaries, which to a certain extent there's not really an invite list to Armed Forces Day normally, but there will be this year.
What about entertainment? Same again, or what?
Well, I think we might be pushing it to have the Hotsy Top, even though they're great. We might be pushing it to have them 3 years running. but maybe we could push to get the steel drum bands back, and because they were quite upbeat and fun. So perhaps we could do those and then get another alternative entertainment, and we couldn't probably do the drama monologue again. So yeah, any ideas that anyone's got?
Does the Silver Band, Youth Band, or Youth Section, whichever, do any kind of Glenn Miller type stuff as a?
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I can ask Di.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether one of the real military bands, for example, would, because we're the designated town, again, it might be Honington or whatever.
What about the Sea Cadet Band again? They always do a terrific job. We had them down one year, marching up and down. They were really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, but of course we use them for remembrance as well, don't we?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it may be, but I'm just thinking, when I've been to the stuff for Bury, for stuff they've done on Angel Hill, there's always a proper military band there.
Did you say RAF Honington, John?
RAF Honington, yeah. That's Bury's adopted regiment, isn't it? RAF regiment.
Yeah.
Do you think of military marching band? Because obviously we're putting military vehicles all over the market square. There won't be anywhere to march.
No, but I'm just thinking about the high street because, unless we've got a decent market, there's very little in the high street. But again, we have to obviously steward that as well, don't we? Make sure people don't get in the way. But yeah, I don't know.
But depending on how many,
and I'm talking about subset.
Yeah, how many vehicles you get, some of the gazebos that the groups use could go along the market, along High Street.
Yeah.
Could you not get a static band that was at the top end of the market square?
Yeah. I was thinking also these military bands, they often send us what I call a subset. They not the whole, however many people are in the band, 100 people. Normally 10 maybe. So you probably don't need that much space. I'm just thinking, just as an alternative. But again, it depends on weather as well, doesn't it? We've been lucky the last few years, except for that first year when it chucked it down for the convoy. But then nobody didn't know, but we didn't have anything on the market square anyway. So okay. Anything else? Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, Sean and Brian, have we got anything from when we did a D-Day commemoration last time that we could put up in a gazebo or anything?
Well, we've got our posters.
Yeah.
And we did do banner. We did do a banner, but I think that had the 75 D-Day 75 logo on it. But you could do another pop-up banner if you wanted, with the new logo, because there's a new logo, isn't there?
Yeah.
I
think it would be good, because that it's going to be the main event. If we could get a banner, Sarah, or something like that.
Yeah, I'll have a chat with you, Sarah, about it.
Okay.
Show you what we did last time. I mean, regarding the gazebos that different people use, Kelly Bennett probably would like to have hers back again with the, she does the Lancaster bomber that's being restored. And Stephen Gibson, who does the Veterans Breakfast, he brought a car, didn't he, last year? Yeah. But he was keen to have a gazebo this year. So if you could add him to your names, list of names.
He's in touch for something else. So yeah, that way.
Okay.
No problem.
I'm associated with Armed Forces Day is obviously Armed Forces flag raising on the Monday, which would be the 24th. Which I guess we're not going to change anything on that. Other than the comment was about audio again, wasn't it? Where the year before that, I used my little mixer and mic and speaker system, which Max has got in the church, for those people there. So we just need to do that. But I don't think we need to change the format of that, do we?
The only thing I would say is that I couldn't find any reference to that on the official Armed Forces Day, which is still actually all about 2023. But there doesn't seem to be any mention of a flag raising on a separate day. It just talked about Armed Forces Day as being the Saturday. So I don't know whether they've dispensed with that separate day or whether it's something that we've been doing that nobody else does. I don't know.
Yeah, because it was Armed Forces Week.
Yeah.
And then that was the culmination of it. It was generally on the Saturday. But like you say, it seems to be sort of being downplayed a bit more lately. So maybe there isn't an Armed Forces Week. It's just straight on to the Armed Forces day. So
there's nothing actually happens between the flag raising on the Monday and the Saturday, doesn't there?
No.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to dispense with that, I mean, it is a week, 24th to 29th of June, but yeah. Should we dispense with the flag raising then?
Let's do another investigation just to make sure that I may have just missed it. But if we can't find any reference to it, and if we check with West Suffolk to whether they do anything like that or they don't, then perhaps we could take a cue from them and not do that particular day.
Okay, I'm reading about the this might be last year as well. Let's take about 29th of June 2024. Just while I've got it on the screen, grant applications as well. There are grants available if we maybe try and it says Armed Forces Day celebrations begin on Monday the 19th of June.
No, it's definitely Armed Forces Week. I've just found the whole web page.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. Yeah, because that says must be last year, where the Armed Forces Day flag is raised on buildings and famous landmarks around the country. Reserves Day on the 21st of June will also provide an opportunity for the country to recognise our reserve forces.
What page are you on? I was on the MOD. What was
armedforcesday.org.uk.
Oh, right, because then that's now 24. They must have updated that since I sent out the agenda.
Yeah, although I think they've got some of the dates are still wrong.
Right.
Yeah, so armedforcesday.org.uk/about.
Yeah, okay, right. They've done that in the last week.
Yeah, so we need to decide whether we're going to do that or not.
I think in a way it's quite good to actually do just a simple flag raising as we did last year, not have a service, that sort of stuff as we.
And I think last year, without looking at the video I made, did we not have the chair of West Suffolk over as well again?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Oh, I think he came, or Mike Chester might come over. Was he? No, he wouldn't have been.
It was the year before.
No, it was the year before.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just a nice sort of in a way, it's just a nice advert for the main event, because we'll get a couple of vehicles down again, raise the flags, and they're there for the week. People do talk about it, and
and our own the website I manage. I normally 19th of June last year we raised it last year. I normally just put a schedule up, if you like, there, and so we can obviously put a lot more about D-Day 80 and everything else. Okay. All right. Right. Should we move on to Suffolk Day then, which is actually on the 21st of June, of course, has been mentioned, and we've got the really official thing. So Mark Murphy, you think Colin will do something for what's it called? Suffolk Sound, I think it's called now.
Yeah, so Sarah and I have a meeting with Oliver Paul, who's the kind of main organizer on behalf of the county, etc. That's on Thursday. Just walk him around Market Square so he can see what we have planned, but I can let Sarah kind of colour that one in for you.
Sarah?
Well, Well, at the moment, we have Castle Manor and Samuel Ward on board to write a proclamation. And they're going to do it jointly, which is nice because it means we don't have to pick our favourite school. Nigel from Reed Farm has said he will bring the Suffolk Punch. I did ask about the Suffolk Trinity, but he says the insurance is too much for those these days, so it would just be the Suffolk Punch, and I'd try and get that at school closing time, so people can come from school and have a little stroke of the great big horsey. Max, I've spoken to you and Charmaine about the Haverhill Singers, so that's a possibility.
Well, yes, about an ad hoc choir. That wouldn't be the Haverhill Singers. If you want them, you'd have to speak to the singers.
Who's Charmaine then? Is she not Haverhill?
She's from Churches Together.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm getting my groups modelled up.
Oh, Charmaine Slade. Okay, yeah.
I've been in touch with the cadets, but I haven't heard back. And then something I wanted to investigate was to do a mini project around pargeting, which is the plaster work you see on all the cottages around here. And Vanessa from Castle Manor has expressed interest, but I haven't heard back from Samuel Ward about that. So that is, and we've got the Slack McGirdle, what they called, steampunk Morris side. They've formed for the day, and they'll come along as well. And that's as far as I've got on Suffolk Day.
And is this going to, I mean, are we talking about an all-day event or afternoon or? Well,
the sort of formal bit happens at 9:30, and it's happening at 9:30, which is a bit later than normal, to allow people to travel to Haverhill from the further reaches of the county.
Yeah.
And then I thought the Suffolk Punch would have to go after school, otherwise it would be wasting it. So maybe a few little bits in between, but say the Morris side would be either be at the formal bit in the morning, or I don't know, that might spook the horse with the Suffolk Punch in the afternoon. Just sort of fleshing things out at the moment.
We'll need enough stuff in the morning, Sarah. I mean, that sounds fantastic, by the way, what you've put together. But some of that we'll want in the morning because the Suffolk Day people will want the media interest there, so they'll want stuff happening that they can film and edit in ready for the lunchtime and evening broadcasts.
Yeah, it's all just sort of all penciled in at the moment, so there's nothing. Things can be moved around, basically.
Is from a media point of view, is it? I'm going to call it. Is there an exclusivity with one particular media organisation?
I think it's BBC Radio Suffolk, isn't it, Colin?
Well, it used to be with Mark, but now it's Suffolk Sound.
I think it's BBC.
BBC generally, or something.
So Mark Murphy obviously was the breakfast time presenter for BBC Radio Suffolk, but I would assume that we would include their colleagues at BBC. But I think Oliver Paul can advise on that, and I think Suffolk County Council have a media person who will assist us in terms of them kind of. I guess they know who they normally book, because at the end of the day, it's a Suffolk Day, so we're hosting it, but they will want to make sure that they've got the input to make sure the media is covered. I think our job is probably mostly going to be making sure that there's something to work on radio and something to work on TV. We will also be given a enhanced chain gang list for Vicky to invite for people to attend, and that I think we'll probably want to get relatively soon, so we can prepare the invites and all the rest of it and get those in people's diaries, so they know where. As Sarah said, we have flagged the fact that the East Suffolk people will need an hour drive to get across to Haverhill. 2 hours nearly from Lowestoft. So that's why we've said to shift it away from the breakfast programme to the mid-morning programme. I think that's what they're doing, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether Luke Deal's still doing stuff for BBC. I know you're going to talk about it. And also the one who normally calls me from BBC Radio Suffolk, BBC Suffolk, the lady.
Georgie, she's left. If it's
Which one?
Georgie.
No. She.
Leslie Dolphin.
No, I'll remember it. I'll remember it.
Spit out names.
Yeah. She always phones me up if she wants information, and I can't remember her name.
Sarah, did you have Pete Isaacs and the Codgers on your list of potentials?
I don't know, but that's a good idea. I have got.
He does all Suffolk-y songs, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've got his email address somewhere.
Sarah, have we got a kind of master pargeter who that sorted?
I can't remember his name, but he's a Suffolk pargeter and he's done workshops and things like that before. So yeah, I basically just contacted him and he said he's interested, and that's as far as it is at the moment. But yeah, he is a proper craftsman.
Okay.
He'll be making stuff up.
So will he give us a specification to build some boards? I guess we're going to be doing some 8x4 boards that he can get people plastering and trying out pargeting.
Yeah, well, as I say, this is all at the beginning stages, but that is the general idea, yeah. But I hadn't specifically discussed things like boards with him and stuff yet.
Yeah.
Vicky Irwin is what I was thinking of at BBC, just to let you know. Okay. Anything else on Suffolk Day from anyone? Okay. At least we don't have to get up at silly o'clock to do what we did with Liz and yeah. Okay, very quickly moving on. We've spoken about remembrance already, so there's probably no point in talking about remembrance this year because we're just going to use for next year unless anyone else has got anything else to add.
We just need to amend the date.
Yeah.
I didn't change it from last year. I think it's I assume the 10th is going to be remembrance.
Yes, 10th.
And I also didn't change the date of the civic service either.
No, that's right. That's up to you. So I presume civic service again, we've got nothing really more to discuss.
Well, can I just say something about that?
Yeah, of course.
If you want to use Samuel Ward potential choir again, this year we left it really too late, and then the guy who runs it, Tom Radford, was ill. So I think if you want to use a school choir for the civic carol service, probably a good idea to get in touch with them sooner rather than later. Give them the date.
And I guess also on that, before going to Vicky, sorry, Vicky, we'll have to think about what band we're going to be using for the remembrance. Are we going to have the Sea Cadets again, who I think work very well, but we need to let, if we want the Sea Cadets, we need to let Ollie know early. So it'd be better to say, next couple of weeks, drop him an email and say, yes, please, if that's who we want. Unless anybody's got any other suggestions. Tony, on that point?
It was remembrance, but not exactly that point. It was just around the bus. I thought, to be fair, it wouldn't be a bad idea to ask Stagecoach if they can put a bus on every year. There's a lot of less able people that struggle to get up, to the thing and back. I think it could work quite well. Still have a fire engine if we can get one, or a police car, but just have a bus for those elderly or whatever that don't feel up to it. It is quite a long walk. I'm thinking about my future.
I was thinking last year, I was thinking about our current mayor, actually.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Vicky, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine.
I did ask.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Doesn't matter now.
I did ask the band if they could play a slower tune next year.
Oh, okay.
I did struggle, I must admit. But that was their second event they'd done that day as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we changed all the routing, and they started from outside the art centre and all that sort of stuff, which Ollie came back to me after the event and said it worked really well. They really like that. So do we want to try and get them again? I can't see anybody saying no or coming up with it. So,
Definitely.
is that something you can do, Sarah?
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, anything else on civic events? We've got no other strange things coming up this year that we can remember.
Well, on Christmas, just to say that we have booked it in the diary, haven't we, for the 4th of December. So that we've set a date for that.
That's what I was going to say. But
Oh, the civic service. Okay. Okay. And obviously we've already done item 7, so we'll ignore that one. Unless anybody's got anything else. Dated next meeting is 19th of March. Hopefully you can all attend. But as I said earlier, if you got anything, by all means drop emails around and come up with ideas, or if you've got questions or anything else like that.